We finally have a brand new defense character in the form of Seth that is the A-rank electric agent. And honestly, he might as well be an S-rank character. That's how good he is going to be and how much benefit he is going to provide to some characters. And not only was Seth playable, but the entirety of his kit is already out. So in today's video, I'm going to be explaining exactly what Seth does, the types of teams that he is going to support and provide value to, how you may potentially build them, and so much more, all that you can get the most value out of your account. With that being said, hello everyone, my name is Dark Hero and let's get started. So as I stated before, Seth is going to be a defense character. The only one currently in the game is Ben Bigger, and there's really no reason for you to use him, other than maybe pairing him up with Koleda to get the flashy animations that also build up some extra days. Thankfully, Seth is not only going to provide you with some shields, but will also give you some extra buffs that will allow you to deal more damage with the rest of your characters. So let's start with the basics. Seth has a normal basic attack string, consisting of 4 attacks that deal a mix of physical damage and electric damage, though ideally you're not going to be using them a lot. And that is because Resolve is the unique mechanic to Seth, that is to say his unique gauge, that is indicated below his icon and will accumulate as you deal electric damage and use different skills. Once Resolve is above 75%, you'll be able to hold the basic attack to activate the enhanced basic attack Lightning Strike Electrify. Doing so will consume 75% Resolve to launch a barrage of attacks against the enemies, followed by a finishing strike that deals electric damage. And when the finishing strike hits an enemy, it will trigger a quick assist, much like you can trigger a quick assist by using the X special with a support character. You will trigger the quick assist of the squad member that is positioned before Seth in the team lineup. So correctly ordering the characters that you bring with you is going to be very important. Additionally, you also get some armor in the form of anti-interruption level being increased while using the enhanced basic attack. And despite being a defense character, Seth's damage multipliers on the finishing strike are actually very high. However, that by itself is not entirely the reason why you would want to have him on the team. So let us now move on to the X special. The Thunder Shield Rush High Voltage will have Seth unleashing a series of slashes dealing massive electric damage, and you'll be able to hold the X special button to charge the move, with Seth dashing forward, unleashing a series of more powerful slashes and dealing much more electric damage. And doing so will accumulate 75% Resolve, which means that you can follow this up with the enhanced basic attack right after. Now, a couple of notes about this EX special is that the energy cost is 80 points, you get additional anti-interruption while charging the skill, and the damage taken while you are performing it is reduced by 40%. And Seth is going to be invulnerable during the continuous slashes, which means the timing where Seth is actually vulnerable is going to be very little. And again, the damage multipliers on this thing are actually pretty high, with the damage multiplier of the charged EX special being a whopping 1400% at level 6. Though again, because Seth is a defender character, he's not going to have a ton of base attack, so it may not necessarily correlate to a ton of damage. And we're going to combine this EX special with the core passive, as when Seth uses the EX special attack Thunder Shield Rush High Voltage, he will gain a shield of firm resolve equal to 80% of his initial attack, up to a maximum of 3000 points and lasting for 25 seconds, with you being able to trigger this once every 10 seconds. Additionally, whenever the enhanced basic attack Lightning Strike Electrified or the assist follow-up Public Security Ruling, which we'll talk about in a moment, when these two trigger a quick assist or a chain attack causing another squad member to enter the field, that member that enters the field will gain a shield of firm resolve that is equal to 80% of the initial attack of Seth, up to a maximum of 3000 points, and again lasting for 25 seconds. So pretty much the shield that you get from Seth, you will be able to share it with a different character by triggering a quick assist or a chain attack. Now, there is no limit to how many party members you can give a shield to, though when you do this, you only give the shield to a single character. So to give a second shield to a different character, you would have to swap back into Seth and trigger a quick assist or a chain attack, and only then would you be able to give the second shield. So in terms of how practical it is going to be to share the shield with 2 different teammates, let's just say that it seems very unlikely. A final note about the core passive is that the Shield of Resolve is going to grant a 100 point increase to anomaly proficiency, and that is again both to Seth and the character that ends up receiving the shield. And that is the meaningful buff, the added value that Seth is going to provide on top of the shield that is pretty much synonymous with the defense role. So naturally, Seth is going to provide the most amount of value to characters that enjoy having high anomaly proficiency. So those would be Grace, Piper, and naturally Jane Doe. though, but I'm getting ahead of myself. We briefly touched on the chain attack before. This one is called the Final Judgment, where Seth will launch a series of slashes dealing a lot of electric damage, and using it will give you 75% resolve. Though keep in mind that after using the chain attack, you are able to hold the EX special button to chain it into the EX special attack, Thunder Shield Rush High Voltage, and doing so will allow you to charge it much quicker. And I think that this interaction is really cool because it's going to make Seth feel much more fluid as a character, as you are able to combo together the chain attack and the EX special one after another, and you're not going to feel like you're wasting time with the character. And again, the damage multipliers on the chain attack are very impressive. That being said, Seth gets a very basic dash attack called Thunder Assault, where he charges forward with the shield, dealing physical damage, and the damage that he takes while performing this move is decreased by 40%. Now his dodge counter, Retreat to Advance, is a move that once again you can hold the EX special attack to then chain into your EX special, the Thunder Shield Rush High Voltage, which will allow you to charge it much quicker. Though keep in mind that the dodge counter is not going to give you 75% resolve. What is going to give you additional resolve is the defensive shield, the Thunder Shield, which will give Seth 25% resolve upon activating it. So hey, right as you parry an incoming attack, you get 25 resolve right off the bat. And then the assist follow-up, which I briefly talked about before, Seth will launch at an enemy doing a thrust attack followed by 2 horizontal slashes, and whenever he does this, it will trigger the quick assist of the squad member positioned before Seth. So if you have a character before Seth that is a main DPS, for example, they would come out and deal a good chunk of damage during this period. Additionally, once again, you can follow up the assist follow-up that you do after performing a parry by once again holding the EX special attack button to transition into the EX special attack. And again, you will be able to charge it quicker. And this really is the essence of the 1.1 characters. They all feel very fluid and quick, and they can combo things together from one to another. You have Chingy always going back into the basic attack 3. Jane Doe, as I talked about in my previous video, is all about going into the passion stream and the passion state and keep on looping the enhanced basic attack as much as possible. And Seth is going to be able to chain almost everything of his kit into the EX special, which is going to make him feel a lot more fluid, and it's just nice to have a character like this. And as for the additional ability High Spirit, when another character in your squad shares the same attributes, so electric or faction, that is the police force, Soju Yuan, Xingyi, and Jane Doe, you'll be able to benefit from this. When Seth's chain attack, Final Judgment, or finishing strike during the enhanced basic attack hits an enemy, the target's anomaly buildup resistance to all attributes is going to be reduced by 20% for 20 seconds. And this once again goes back to the fact that Seth is going to be a phenomenal character to buff the damage of anomaly characters, as we currently don't have a dedicated support to increase anomaly damage in the game, and naturally making it easier for you to build up anomaly by 20% is going to be very effective, especially as, for example, Jane Doe's Nashes that I talked about in my previous video, that you can proc and deal critical damage whenever you use them, can actually be triggered by different characters. So let's say that you are using both Jane Doe and Seth, not only will you be able to make it easier for you to build up anomaly, but even if you are not playing as Jane Doe, you'll still be able to benefit from the anomaly crits that will make it easier for you to build up the anomaly status. So you'll be able to trigger Assault, Shock, and even Disorder more easily, which is going to be fantastic. And again, given the fact that Seth is going to be triggering chain attacks to then swap into a character to give them the shield that is going to give them the additional anomaly proficiency, with the shield itself having a 25-second duration and this additional ability having a 20-second duration, it's going to be very easy for you to maintain a near perfect uptime on both of these buffs. So as I said, Seth is looking to be an incredible A-rank character, and we haven't even taken a look at the Mindscapes. So if you like everything that you see about Seth, and like me would like to invest into getting some of the Mindscapes, maybe you are a Charge Blade enjoyer like myself, then let's go over them. Starting with the M1 Heroism. This is going to increase the value of the shield provided by the Shield of Firm Resolve and its limit capacity by 30%. Additionally, whenever the shield ends, the 100 anomaly proficiency provided by Seth's core passive is going to extend by an additional 10 seconds. So again, that is going to make it even easier for you to maintain uptime on Seth's buff. And again, the more time the anomaly characters have with the buff, the happier they and you are going to be. As for the M2 Recklessness of Youth, upon entering battle, Seth will immediately gain 75% resolve, which again is the amount needed for you to do the enhanced basic attack, so that is perfect. Additionally, hitting an enemy with the enhanced basic attack will increase that move's accumulated electric anomaly buildup by 35%. The second part by itself is not really amazing, considering that like likely if you are using another electric character, it's probably going to be Grace. So you already have a good character to build up shock on the enemy, but regardless, being able to build up Anomaly even quicker, even if it's just an increase with a single move, is a nice buff. As for the M4, the amount of days that is caused by the defensive assist, the Thunder Shield, is going to be increased by 25%. So overall, not a very significant buff, especially now that in 1.1, the Anomaly characters can actually build up days with the Anomaly status, which they couldn't before as it was bugged. But again, being able to build up days even quicker, even if it's just with a single move, is a decent buff. And finally, the M6, the Idealist. When Seth lands a finishing strike on an enemy with the enhanced basic attack, it deals an additional damage equal to 500% of his attack. And you are likely going to be building up attack on Seth because again, the shield that you're going to be able to get from Seth is going to be dependent on his attack, so that would make the enhanced basic attack with this Mindscape even more powerful. Additionally, this attack is going to be guaranteed to crit, and the crit damage is going to be increased by 60%. And I really wonder if we're going to be able to use Seth as essentially a proxy DPS. I have already farmed a lot of offensive drive discs, so whenever Seth releases, I will try to make him a DPS and see how it goes. Because again, I am a Charge Blade enjoyer after all. So once again, I really do believe that Seth is going to be a very valuable A-rank character, and it's going to rival the effectiveness of many S-rank characters in the game. Now the question with Seth is how you are going to be building him. And I think I need to do a dedicated video for that because there is a big nuanced discussion with this character. Because for one, as I stated before, you can build up attack to be able to increase the value of the shield that Seth is going to provide. But let's say that you are playing the game perfectly and you are not getting hit, you don't necessarily need the shield to be any higher at that point. So would it not be much more beneficial to you to maybe have additional anomaly proficiency or even just pen ratio? Because at that point you might be able to increase the overall damage of your team by building up the anomaly a little bit quicker, so that when it's their turn and you swap into Jane for example, you'll be able to trigger assault just like that. This is all very theoretical and needs a lot of testing, so that is why I think it needs to have a dedicated video. And also on the topic of drive discs, more likely than not you're going to be running Seth in place of a support character, so you likely will be running the 4-piece swing jazz set, the ubiquitous support drive disc, as it provides you additional energy regen. On top of whenever you use a chain attack, you will increase all of these squad members' damage by 15%. So it seems like a natural choice, and then maybe you would go for the Hormone Punk 2-piece set just to give some additional attack, or maybe you would go for the 2-piece Anomaly set or the 2-piece Electro set. Again, I'm going to be doing a much more in-depth breakdown on how exactly you should be building Jane and Seth and the kinds of teams that are going to benefit the most from, so do look forward to that. In the meantime, let me know if you're going to be pulling for Seth. He is going to be on Jane's banner, so if you're going to be pulling for Jane, you are likely going to be getting him. Then again, Nicole was featured on G1's banner, and I ended up getting 9 different Ben Biggers and only 1 Nicole. So hey, subscribe to the channel to win the next 50-50, and if you don't, I owe you a Mr. Beast chocolate bar.